Hi.
Hi. This is Two Girls, One Ghost.
Two girls, one ghost. And we're together.
Yeah, we are.
That's Corinne.
Hi.
I'm Sabrina. And we're in this beautiful Airbnb in Connecticut.
Mm-hmm.
We're obsessed. It's called
the Farmette.
the Farmette. If you have a chance to stay here, if you want a retreat in the wilderness, maybe hold some chickens,
Definitely
potentially
hold
some other
chickens.
animals, because Sandra and her wife are collecting
Collecting,
gotta collect them all.
saving
Saving
animals. They're basically turning the Farmette into a sanctuary. So it started with a collection of chickens that were
rescued from like this awful ritual where they slaughter 80,000 chickens and end up throwing a lot of their carcasses in the trash because they don't use them all.
Ugh. So
It's
anyway, there's
heartbreaking.
one rooster and a bunch of hens, and we snuggled them and cuddled them, and I picked them up.
I'm gonna pick one up before we leave.
You're going to?
I have to.
Okay.
I was wearing one of my favorite sweatshirts and they were wet.
Oh.
So I will.
Their little feet were wet.
Prepare for it today.
Sandra delivered some fresh eggs for us to eat. Like, this is just literally the sweetest Airbnb host.
Yeah.
The property is amazing. There's a little
You can
loop.
see
There's a
it
trail
here.
that you can go on.
There's a hot tub,
bird feeders,
deer,
greenhouse, barn,
fresh air.
It's just good times.
Great
vibes.
times. I was like, how do I stay here for 2 weeks? Shut out the world.
Oh my God, I know. Even the shower.
Oh, the shower. The wall looks like this.
Yeah.
And there's eucalyptus hanging.
And it's like kind of dark, and there's like stone cut in, and it really does feel like you're underground, basically, like in this beautiful cave showering. Anyway, the Farmette was amazing. We came here to do podcast stuff and have a little retreat in between our Portland show and our New Brunswick show.
Mm-hmm.
So we hid away in the woods.
It's kind of our Mary Shelley retreat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's right on the border of Connecticut and Massachusetts too. So if anyone is in New York, or if they're in Boston, or anywhere in between, not too hard to get to.
No, get a car, get in your car, drive to the Farmette. Make a reservation first.
Yes, make a reservation. And also be aware, we drove through drove to a small town that's like, I don't know, 15 minutes, 20 minutes away from here, because we were like, oh, let's look at the antique shops and all these little things. A lot of things are closed Mondays and Tuesdays.
We don't know why, but they are.
I think that might have technically been, was that in Connecticut? Maybe it was.
That was Connecticut.
Yeah. Anyway, but there's plenty to do right here. We hot tubbed, we made mocktails.
We didn't need to leave.
When I saw deer, I screamed deer, and Sabrina just about shot herself.
Terrified me.
Yeah.
It was scary.
It was like dusk, and we were working in silence for a while, and then I screamed, deer! And
at first you just screamed, you pointed and you were like, ah! and then you said deer.
Pointing to the large open windows. It's only forest.
I mean, this would be a great place if Bigfoot were running around here.
Here's the thing. If there was a cryptid, I wouldn't make a peep. I would be dead silent, because I'd know, don't scare them. Of course. It could get your attention.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd creep to the window, or would I even go to the window?
I think you would hit me. You'd lightly, not violently.
Yes. Tap, tap, tap.
And then I would probably freak out.
Then you grab your cell phone and you just zoom in and start recording from right here, and you're like, don't move, don't breathe.
Don't breathe.
The thing will know we're
here.
They
will know we're breathing.
Anyway, the Farmette is great. Also, we did a AI ghost story.
Oh my gosh.
Patreon live.
It was so fun.
It was so fun. But at the very end, we hadn't closed these curtains, and we got so scared from I guess we made ourselves scared.
We always do.
We gave the prompts. We read the stories. Other people in the crowdcast gave the prompts, and it just turned into this thing where we were like, oh my God. Yeah. We can't walk ourselves to the windows to close the shades.
So everyone with us.
Everyone on that crowdcast everyone on that Patreon live had to babysit us and watch us go from window to window to make sure we were safe. And of course, we were scared.
Corinne took the job that was holding the computer to show everyone as I closed the curtains.
Okay. Yes, but I've also closed the curtains every other night that we've been here. So I put in
That's
the
fair.
work and then got to reap the benefit of the one scary night not having to do it.
But it's so fun because you and I don't get to spend I truly don't think we've spent this much time together
Mhm.
since college.
Yeah. And then even in college, we were saying it's not like we were roommates. Like
No.
we weren't like fully living together. So when
Freshman
we
year,
saw
we
each
kinda
other,
did, but, like, only because
we
we
were
hung out
thick
all
as
the time,
thieves.
yeah.
Yes.
But, yeah, it's been so nice. Obviously,
Mhm.
Corinne and I spend a lot of time together, like, just
Mhm.
in terms of work, we work together. We're coworkers.
We're
We're
coworkers.
coworkers and best friends.
We talk every day.
We talk every day, but we haven't physically like, I haven't been able to touch you.
Well,
Not that I've been
I'm
touching you
growing
a
10
lot, but
sizes
I
because I've
can.
been only living off of peanut M&Ms. We both
We
have our
both.
vices here. We, like, went grocery shopping. We're like, "We're gonna make these delicious salads," and then there's, like and we've just got stuff to make
Let's just
food.
say the chickens are gonna be eating the
Chickens, we're donating it
salad.
to the sanctuary.
Because
Uh,
we are very gracious, and
you were popcorn and Cheez-Its, and I was peanut M&Ms.
I was also Twizzlers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least you had variety in your diet this weekend.
I had some fiber from the popcorn.
You had fiber. I had protein. I had peanuts in
That's
that
true.
chocolate coating.
We've been having
We
our
had some
Owens.
protein shakes.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Can't travel without them.
Mm-mm.
Can't live without them, to be honest.
What was you said something about water the other day that was funny.
Oh. We had a potential sponsor that was water, and we have to, like, say
Water reached out to us, Mother
water
Earth.
water, yeah. Springs from around the earth have reached out to us to help nourish us, and we have to write, like, why or if we wanna endorse it, why we would want to, and so I wrote, "We'd really love to endorse this water. It's almost like I could live off of it."
I thought it was
I
hilarious.
thought so too, that's why I read it
I
to
hope
you.
water sponsors us. We
2
love
girls, 1
water.
ghost, sponsored by water.
Mhm, mm.
Are you
Sorry. I put way too much of my mouth in this hole, and it just, like, made me really
Put too much
slimy,
of my mouth in this hole.
and now
Can
it's
that be the name
slimy.
of this episode?
What did someone trick me into saying on
Oh,
the
a furry
Patreon?
wiener.
I
I
want
want
a
a
furry
furry
wiener.
wiener.
You're talking about a dachshund, and they were
But
like, "Dachshunds, furry wieners." I was like, "Oh, I want a furry wiener."
and it was just because it was in the chat, so it wasn't like someone said it and then Karen responded.
No, and I don't think it was supposed to be a trick
No,
either.
you tricked yourself.
I think so.
We don't need other people to trick us. We do it to
We do
ourselves.
it to ourselves.
I didn't think I was a gullible person, but lately I'm questioning that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why?
I've just let's see. I've had people in my life who will tell me stories as kind of like playful jest, but the way that they say it is very
They
serious.
say it with conviction.
And I believe it every time, even if they're like a little bit outlandish.
Oh. Well, I think it's because that person has earned your trust and they don't deserve it. Clearly.
Well, I think it's just because of this podcast, I've just bought into every
Yeah.
conspiracy. And we've heard such weird stuff that I fully believe that when
Right.
people around me tell me weird stuff, I'm like, oh, hell yeah.
We're not understanding that it's a joke. We're like, "Oh my gosh, that reminds me of
Yeah.
someone else's experience that they had something similar happen." And the person's like, "Whoa, whoa,
I
whoa."
was messing with you.
Speaking of things messing
Oh,
around, last night, both of us
what?
were terrified because we both thought the other person had fallen asleep because
This
there was
was
this
so scary.
breathing noise. And Sabrina had just come out of the bathroom and got into her bed. I've been sleeping on the futon, and then
Because I came out and I really you had already been in bed for a little while, so I thought Corinne was
Mhm.
asleep, and I didn't see, like, phone light or anything, it was really dark in here.
Yeah, and then I sent Sabrina a TikTok. Well, she
Okay, from
got into
my
bed.
perspective, I was in bed, Corinne was fully asleep, all of a sudden, I get a text from Corinne, and I truly my heart sunk, and I open it, and I'm like, "Oh my god, is this gonna be one of those things where it's like, die?" Like, something, like, really freaky, like, a spirit was texting on your phone, and it was a TikTok. And then what did I responded? "This is really freaky because you sent this to me while you were sleeping."
Yes. And then, from my perspective, Sabrina comes out of the bathroom, gets into bed, and within 2 minutes falls asleep, which I'm like, "That's so unlike her,"
Yeah.
because the breathing's like
It's oh gosh, you're even freaking me out now.
and then I hear, "Corinne?" And I look up and the breathing's still going. She goes, "Have you been awake this whole time?" I said, "Yes." And she goes, "Oh, I thought that breathing was you."
You.
I said, "I thought that was you." And
And then I was
then
like, "Corinne, did you just text me?" And she wouldn't respond
because I
because
was listening. I
I
was
didn't realize
listening.
that so I still was, like, confused that and didn't know that you had been awake that whole time.
Hmm.
And then we listened for the breathing, and we realized,
It's the water heater or something.
something
It's
here.
the fridge. I think it's the fridge. I think there's like a water line to the
Yeah,
fridge that just was like,
but
like
it really did sound like breathing.
it did. And it's also
Yeah.
because and we've been here for like a full week and never noticed it or heard it, but I think it's because it was like dead silence. We didn't have the TV on. Like
No.
it was just
We did watch a hilarious oh my gosh.
yes.
I'm so grateful that you introduced this to me because I
I'm
never would
grateful
have heard of
for
it.
my TikTok addiction because
Jury
it's
Duty.
been my entire FYP on TikTok.
It is hilarious. If you haven't seen it, watch it. We've only seen one episode.
Yeah, we watch it through Amazon Prime.
Yeah. There are a couple commercials, but not bad.
No,
It was
I
like
didn't even notice the commercials.
promos for other shows. But it was so funny. The concept is it's created by like the same producers of The Office.
Mhm.
The
So
con
it's shot very similar.
Yeah, James Marsden is in it, but basically everyone is an actor except for one person. So
Mhm.
it's like a docuseries slash reality TV show.
So this one person that doesn't know was basically told, to my understanding of the way they
Yeah.
set up the show, basically summoned for jury duty, went so that he wouldn't be in contempt of court, and was then selected as a juror and told that, jury duty is oftentimes this like thing that no one really understands what it's like to be on a jury, and normally it's very, very private, but they're making a documentary or like a docu-series
Mhm.
to see like in the lives of being a juror. And so this is a really special like one-time thing. So that explains why there's cameras all around
Yeah.
because
So he believes that they were given
someone's
permission.
yes, yes, that everybody on the jury is just like him.
Speaking of gullible,
Well, the actors are so what they did was I think it's genius that they
it
didn't make
is.
an actual script. They just made like, here's generally like
They have
here's
like
what
very
your
in-depth
character is.
character bios
Yes.
and stories.
And then like here's what should happen today. Here's what your character should go through.
Right.
And so
And
it
the
feels so
trial,
authentic.
like the case itself is pretty baked out of like what
Yeah.
the trial is about, but it is so funny.
Oh, and the guy is so sweet.
He's
Like
so sweet.
they literally created a character. One of the actors was created, I think, with the intention of annoying this man who has no idea that everyone around him is an actor. And instead,
He's just so
he's
lovely.
so kind, he's so understanding. He kind of gets a little bit almost like paternal around everyone. Like he's Mother Goose and he's making sure everyone like still feels good about themselves
Yeah.
and feels
And
seen and they feel comfortable in this like really awkward position that is being a juror in this
yeah.
weird room where things constantly happen.
And they're not making fun of him, which I really, really
No.
appreciate because it's not like Punk'd or a joke show where they're, tricking someone.
And I think James Marsden had a big
Yeah.
role in that and making sure that it was never at the expense of
Yeah,
this
he's
man.
never the joke. It's everyone
Mhm.
else being super outlandish and ridiculous
Yes.
and the scenarios being ridiculous rather than making fun of him because he's so pure.
Mhm.
That
Ugh,
if he's not married, this man is gonna
I don't
get
think he
so
is.
many DMs.
I'm pretty sure he's single because, well, actually, I have no idea. I think I'm just reading the comments that are on the internet where everyone's like, "Make him the bachelor, put him on
Oh,
the."
100%.
Yeah, but let's not corrupt the man.
No, but
Let's let him live his pure, beautiful life.
right, but he's gonna find a pure, beautiful wife.
or husband or
or
person.
person.
We don't know.
We don't know.
What we do know is that I have a ghost story to tell you.
It's good at sunlight, and this is our last day staying here so
Yes.
that I mean, I love it
We
here,
get to
actually.
drop the ghost story and run.
Yeah.
We did wanna stay another day, but
Well, I wanna
it's a
stay for the rest
popular
of my
cabin.
life.
Yes.
I'm moving in, Sandra.
You and the chickens. Just BFFs. We did have to save a chicken.
We did. We actually saved 2 birds.
We did. Oh, and then when we were in Portsmouth, we went to Deadwick's and bought crystals, and one of my crystals broke. My black obsidian broke.
Mhm.
And then we were joking. We're like, "It's a sign because we saved 2 birds and 2
And then
birds with
we
1
both at the same time
stone.
were like, "1 stone!"
2 birds,
And
1 stone!"
it's kinda like the new Harry Potter, the Sorcerer's Stone, but 2 birds.
1 stone. 1 black obsidian. But black obsidian's also made of glass, so if you drop it, it will break. So
And
that was what
apparently,
I
it's
did.
one of those crystals that likes to,
Break itself, and it likes to grow and make
grow
itself
and become
bigger
more.
by breaking itself into it likes to multiply.
Yeah.
Alright.
Alright.
There is one of the strangest places that you will ever visit,
Oh.
and it is a place of mystery, defying laws of physics and dazzling all visitors, and it's here in the United
Ooh.
States.
I wanna be dazzled.
Be dazzled.
Okay.
I wanna
Ooh,
go
bejeweled.
bejeweled!
I used to bejewel all the time.
Did you?
Yeah, I was a bedazzler.
I can't see that.
Sabrina, the bedazzler. My mom and I, well, because
Feels
my
like a New
sister
Jersey activity.
No, my sister figure skated a lot or was, like, a really big figure skater, and so for her, like, costumes,
Mhm.
my mom would, like, bejewel them for her
That's so sweet.
so that she sparkled on the ice.
What a great
I
thing to do.
know.
That's so sweet. So you would help
Yeah, it
make the
was just
costumes?
fun.
Yeah.
I think I bejeweled some pants.
Get one of those machines, like, they're, like, did you have, like, a big machine, or was it, like,
Oh, it was a big
clamp, clamp?
machine.
Oh, wow.
It was heavy duty.
Wow.
We were like a
I don't think I've
workshop.
ever your child labor. Your first job, unpaid bedazzler in the sweat factory of your basement.
Aw.
Let's be bedazzled by ghost stories and mystery instead of
Yeah,
the sadness of the world.
'cause there's a lot of it.
So, this is a place where people will shrink. It's a place where people will grow many, many inches. It's a place that attracts visitors from all galaxies and planes.
Is this like Alice in Wonderland
Basically,
and
yeah,
Honey, We Shrunk the Kids?
it's totally that. This is Montana's Vortex
Okay.
and House of Mystery.
Montana. Wait, House of
Montana!
Mystery?
Yes.
Oh,
I'll tell you all about it.
okay,
House
I
of
can't
Mystery is
wait.
actually only one of the structures on the property. There's many. So this was recommended by our listener Alyssa and also Ruby Sue on
Oh,
Patreon.
thank
This is
you.
for you too because you said you should do something in Montana. So now we get a little double whammy.
You're welcome.
This is for you
This
and
is for
only you.
you.
On the outskirts of Columbia Falls, you'll find an attraction just steps away from Route 2. It's the perfect pit stop on your haunted road trip or your visit to Glacier National Park because it's only 13 miles away.
Oh,
So, for all the people going to the national park, I feel like
lucky.
this is a detour you should take.
Absolutely.
So, when you get there,
Okay.
you will drive up and you'll park, you'll pay your entry. Don't skip that. And then you'll come upon a wooden shack. And
Ooh.
on the side is nailed to the front a warning that visitors may experience dizziness and disorientation upon entering the house. So you need to enter at your own risk.
That is so cool.
Yes,
I love that because they're fully embracing it.
fully, fully. Yes, I
And
mean this
also
is a
protecting
tourist
themselves.
attraction now
Okay.
as well. So as you approach the entrance, the ground beneath you will begin to pull you. You'll feel
Like
this weight.
quicksand?
It's almost like it sounds like it's an energy thing.
Oh.
Like your feet remain on the ground, but you feel almost like your astral body or like your shoulders, like everything is being like blue. Like gravity is heavier here.
Oh.
And then there's a flat concrete, like level path right in front of that house of mystery, this
Mhm.
shack. And when you stand on this platform, you'll suddenly feel like you're crooked, everyone else is crooked, that people are taller, people are shorter, but you're both just standing there
It's
on
like
the
a fun
platform.
house.
It totally is like a fun house.
I
1000%. That's what I was thinking when I was reading about this.
okay. I wanna, like, close my eyes and just picture it.
Mhm. And then the house is completely crooked behind you too. So it's all like the whole thing is disorienting because you're like everything around you is crooked and slanted and you're being pulled in different directions in a way that even if you were walking up the hill, like you're obviously walking at a slant, your ankles and your feet are bent at a certain degree to get you up the hill. But your body remains straight.
If you look at a picture of it, does it look crooked? Or from a picture perspective, it looks like a normal house?
No, it looks crooked.
Oh.
It like the whole thing I think is just
Do you have
a
pictures?
dizzying. I do have some
Okay.
pictures.
I'll wait,
I think the whole thing is just a dizzying experience for people because
but also fun.
yes, yeah, totally
Okay.
fun. So what you're experiencing is a gravitational anomaly that defies the rules of gravity and likely has been here for a very long time. The Blackfeet tribe has recognized this vortex for centuries and centuries, and they considered it to be sacred. So this whole ground is considered to be sacred,
Yeah.
and they would leave offerings of sweetgrass and tobacco, and they would go to this land and go to this area, uh, basically for healing and spiritual purposes.
Right. I mean, if you wanted to make contact with like, I feel like similar to, Sedona, which is known for a lot of vortexes, it's a very spiritual place because you
Yeah.
can connect to whatever spiritual beings that you believe in a way that you can't I mean, you can in other places, but I feel
Mhm.
like it intensifies or makes it more accessible.
Right. And it is interesting how many places there are. Not that they're like plentiful by any means, but there are places that we've discovered that do
Yeah.
have this sort of strange energy vortex anomaly type thing going on.
And I do love that this one sounds like very nice, blissful.
Yes. Yes,
There's
there's
no
something
negative
terrifying
energy.
happening. It's
Yeah.
just a fun place to go.
Okay.
So then in 1905, a man named Joseph Lyman built a cabin on the property and he noticed that something strange was going on. So he was like, okay, my compass is not working anywhere. I feel really disoriented when I'm walking through certain areas of my land. And so over the years, the property has changed hands several times and everyone has experienced the same thing.
I wanna buy
I know, right? Should we just start like collecting
it.
all of the haunted
Haunted
and
homes.
strange places?
Oh my gosh, is that gonna be us?
Yeah, we're
Should we
gonna
have a
start an
reality TV
Airbnb, but
show? Oh.
different business ideas. We'll
Okay,
find one in the
well,
middle.
both. Or we could do both.
Both, both.
Why we have all the time in the
I'm
world.
into this. In the 1950s, a man named Bill Taylor purchased the property, and then he basically purchased it to study this phenomena that was
Oh.
going on here. And still, no one seems to have answers as to what's going on. So
Hmm.
scientists, it's attracted a lot of scientists, a lot of people that are like, it's a hoax, like just different things that are happening that there are theories, but we don't actually know
Yep.
specifically what's happening.
Mhm.
And then in 1970, the House of Mystery was basically built to allow people to experience this phenomenon better.
Okay.
So there wasn't this structure prior, but
Okay.
the land still had the like weird energy and whatnot.
Yeah.
And so on one of these, like the heart of this anomaly,
Mhm.
they built this shack as a tourist attraction. And since then, more vortexes have been discovered on the property.
That's so fascinating because I would have thought that it's just generally one big
Right.
vortex,
Mhm.
but so that means that there between each vortex, there's spaces of
Just
normalcy?
I guess so, and I don't think this property is super huge either. I think,
Huh.
you'll enter this, like, bubble of disorientation, and then you'll leave it,
Wow.
and then you'll walk another 50 feet, and then suddenly you're back in this strange
It kinda makes me think
bubble.
that each vortex leads to somewhere different.
I think you're onto something. That's my
Okay.
theory too.
They're like doors.
Yes. Yes. There are 3 vortexes here. And entering into any of them leave people disoriented, motion sick, and a lot of people experience different things in different vortexes.
Okay.
So one of these vortexes is accessible just beyond a golden door, which stands alone in the middle of the woods. So
Stop!
very Alice in
Oh
Wonderland,
my gosh!
right? You just walk on this path and then there's a big golden door and you open it and you walk through it. And when you enter the door, you enter one of the vortexes and you feel how it affects you, how your mind and your body feel. You interact with the space around you. And here is a photo of the door. It's very cool. I'll put it in the
I
video,
want to live in that door.
right?
It reminds me of Beetlejuice.
Oh, interesting.
You know, when they walk out the door and then they're kind of just floating and then they have to go back in.
Yes. So the House of Mystery, which I mentioned before, that's the building, the shack that was built, is a wooden house where inside the height and the tilt of the house creates an illusion of walking sideways. So you'll grow really tall as the ceiling you'll look, or you'll shrink so much that you're a miniature human. And it's really fun for people, especially families, to go to where, the kids are suddenly taller than the parents and the parents are like these tiny little doll-sized
Oh my
things, only like 2
gosh.
feet away from their children. But it's also much more than this. People feel like the gravity's a lot stronger in here. Like there's a heavy weight pulling them down, like 20 pounds of weight basically pulling them down,
Interesting.
which is not normal
No.
because even if you're let's say you're sitting in a chair, you have a camp chair out and you're sitting on a hill and you're tilted back a little bit. You're going to feel kind of like you might fall backwards, but
Yeah.
you don't feel like there's a 20-pound like resistance like pulling you backwards.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And that's what happens here. There is a chair, I think, inside because people do say when they sit on it, it does not feel normal at all.
Huh. I'm just thinking, I mean, this is not necessarily tied to this at all, but I was talking to Joe. So when you first start with Joe, this is at next level
Mhm.
healing, my postural therapy, holistic postural therapy. He does like a analysis of your body and does photos and, you're supposed to have your center of gravity going straight up and down. But a lot of people with their postures, their heads lean forward or back
Mhm.
or their
I'm like
shoulders are
doing that
slumped,
now.
all of those things. My head leans forward. And so because of that, my head is actually so much heavier than it would be if I was just straight up.
Hmm.
And he did an example of, like, let's say you're holding a stick with a big weight on the top. If you're holding it up and down, it's much easier. But the second it starts to like tilt forward, it's so much harder
Oh,
because gravity's starting to pull it down.
yeah.
I don't think that they're related, but it just made me think of it.
Yeah. No, but it is interesting, just like different angles and like putting people into different positions might make them feel their body in a different way.
Yeah,
And maybe that is what's contributing to it here too.
maybe.
Just outside of the House of Mystery is a platform where you can step onto the cement block that I mentioned before, and guides. So you can basically do a self-guided tour, or you can do a tour with a guide. If you do a tour with a guide, they usually have a marble that they will place on the slab to prove to you that it is completely flat. There's no tilt to it at all, and yet for
Oh,
some reason when people go on either side of the platform, so, like, let's say you step on the left side of the platform, like, facing the house, and someone else is on the right side of the platform, you will appear 6 inches taller than you are. And then if you switch positions, that person who switched is now 6 inches taller. But the slab is not big, like, this is, like, the size of a when you walk up to someone's front door, like the slab
yeah.
of cement or whatever that's right in front, like the couple steps up to someone's house, like, it is not
Wow.
huge. It's the size of a bath mat, basically. And yet
That's
you
so wild.
just taking 2 steps
Makes such a
in one
difference.
direction, you're suddenly completely distorted.
It's so interesting because it's not only just a vortex of energy, it's completely defying, I mean, I know you said this, but every rule of physics that we understand
Right, and, like,
on Earth.
how does that even how is that a trick of the eye?
It's not.
Like, it's 2 feet away, and there's nothing about just standing on a slab in the woods that like, how does that trick your eye? There's not other patterns behind you or anything like that to
Yeah. And scientists have not been able to figure it out.
I guess not. There's
If scientists
supposedly
but see, if scientists don't know, that's how we know
that's how we know something's happening.
something is happening.
There's a place on the property called the Hexagon that was discovered in 2005, and it's not far from the main house.
Okay.
Walking down the path in the woods, you'll come across a group of fir trees that have basically like swirled together and created what is said to be a hexagon of small energy nodes.
Oh, kinda like, Stonehenge.
Oh. Yeah, I didn't make that
Because
connection,
isn't that
but it
supposed to
seems like that.
be somewhat vortexy?
I think that's
Yeah,
one of the things that people are when they talk about ley lines, that's one of the ones, like, smack dab in the center.
yeah.
Ooh, that's freaking me out now. So the trees are all twisted and they've sort of grown into this half circle shape. And the theory is that, or one of the theories, is that the trees were attempting to contain the chaos of this energy by creating, like wrapping themselves around it to contain it, to trap the energy.
Which maybe isn't containing it, but, like, intensifying it in that
Exacerbating
one
it. It's just
spot.
swirling up. Yeah. I don't know.
Okay.
But it is interesting. It's making me think of all the other, because circles and spirals are such, like, natural shapes, like,
Right.
they do appear in nature in these, like, very complex
Yeah.
shapes, and so it's interesting, like, Stonehenge and just places like that where humans are mimicking maybe what they see nature do
Hmm,
when encountering a certain
that's interesting.
thing. We're like, "Oh, we just gotta slap a circle around it."
Hmm.
I
I
don't
mean,
know,
like,
there's so
salt
many
circles
meanings.
too, just
Mhm.
keeping something within.
Right. And, like, every
I
culture,
love it.
there's different understandings of what they mean, but in the end, we're all just creating circles all over the place. Just little circle people.
Circle people.
Okay, so when you walk into the hexagon, so this place of the trees and the energy nodes, you'll know because, well, one, there's stones marked where they think each node is, but then also when you walk around, so if you go from stone to stone, you'll shrink, you'll grow, it'll feel like a fun house. So again, the distortion of people's sizes
Yeah,
and where they are in the, like, plane, which almost makes me think, like, are you closer to, like, flipping into another place?
that's interesting. My que do you know if what nature is like? Like, are there birds, are there animals in this area?
There was no information. Well,
Okay.
there's nature,
Yeah.
there's animals, but I have no idea if there's, like, a lack of bird noises during a certain
Yeah,
hour or
that's what I
something
was
like that.
wondering. Have people gone missing here?
Not that I know
Okay,
of.
okay. That's good. Because 'Cause I'm just imagining people flipping into other
Yeah,
timelines or galaxies or universes and then never coming back, but
but also, let's think about missing 411 and how so many wooded areas and, like, national parks especially have people that go missing, and given that this is only 13 miles away, I do wonder how many people might go missing from the Glacier National Park
mm,
that could maybe be attributed to this area too, or
yeah,
another vortex that we just don't even know of that exists somewhere a little bit closer. Because if
yeah.
there's 3 here on this one piece of property that someone owns,
There's gotta be so many all over the world.
yeah, how many more are there?
Yeah.
Even in this area, I'm sure there's, like, maybe the concentration of the 3 is right here, but on the outskirts, I'm sure there's a few more that are just kinda hanging around.
Also, how many are in the ocean? I know, like, Bermuda Triangle is
Ugh,
kind of that idea, right? But
I hate.
the ocean is so massive,
Mhm.
and maybe there are some that don't hit the surface, but are underneath.
It is so scary to think about that.
I love the ocean. We were talking about this the other day where I'm the type of person who wants to explore the ocean
'Cause
and
you wanna
space.
there was something about, I don't even know how we got on this topic, but it was like a submarine deep in the ocean or whatever, and you were like, "Oh, I would love to do that." And I was like, "Why do you keep wanting to put yourself in space, in the bottom of the ocean, like, in all the places that if one thing goes wrong, you die?"
You
Like,
know what it is? I think I've never belonged on Earth. I'm not a land creature.
you're not a land creature. No,
No.
that's clear. And I'm a full-on survivalist, so you go, I
You
stay.
live off the land, I live
Yeah.
in space.
Mhm.
I'm an ethereal creature.
It scares me so much. Like, space, I almost am less scared of than being in the ocean because
Hmm. We know more about space.
in space, I'm also, like, I guess, a little bit more prepared to die if I go into space. But in the ocean, I don't know. I don't like the pressure. I don't like the darkness. I don't like the creature. In space, there are fewer, there's the concentration of creatures seems fewer. There's more room
Yeah, but at
to
least
navigate
the
around them.
ocean, if you die, there's other people who have died down there. There's other corpses. My question is, what is decomposition like in space? Because isn't it
Hmm.
like one if you die really quickly if you get exposed to whatever the chemicals are in space because you can't breathe, and then you just continuously move. There's no you don't
Right.
stop moving.
And the temperature is so cold that are you kept in a
Preserved state.
preserved state? Perhaps we need to fund the body farm
To see how bodies
in
decompose in
space.
space because that's really gonna help solve crimes.
It's just human curiosity.
Yeah. I will donate my body to that.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
I'll make sure that happens.
Thank you. Am I dying before you then?
Yeah, I'm gonna launch
Okay.
you into well, probably if you're trying to go into the bottom of the ocean, I'm sure. In 2007, a researcher noticed that there's this one particular area of the woods this person saw this once invisible blanket of light and energy is now visible. So
Oh,
basically, people can see their auras here.
that's so fascinating.
Mhm.
I was just thinking, I'm pretty sure I can see people's auras.
Really?
I've seen it multiple times, and I feel like if I practice it, I will be able to do it.
Yeah, you should try. It's also interesting because I've probably seen someone's aura like 3 or 4 times, like, throughout my life, like, not
Yeah.
many times, and it's always made me wonder if it was like, I don't think it's me, I think there was something with that person
Mm.
that, like, there was just a moment where they just glowed so
Emitted.
brightly.
Yeah.
Something was going on with them that they it just, like, couldn't be contained like it normally
Yeah.
is.
But I
And
don't
so
think it's ever contained. Like, I think we all have this light around us.
mhm.
If I this is the thing though, it's really only happened if I'm staring at someone for a long time and we're not talking. So that's really creepy.
Well, that's the thing, it's like you kinda defocus your
Yeah, you just have to, like,
eyes a little bit.
focus on the energy around
Yeah.
you. Yeah. Follow me
So
for this journey.
yeah, it's the spiritual awakening podcast now. So there's something about this particular spot that allows this electromagnetic field around you, well, electromagnetic field around you to kind of like dance around and appear to others. And so if you go on a guided tour, they'll teach you some of the tricks to see your aura. So I
Mm.
believe one of the things they do is say, you should stare at your hand and in between your fingers until you have no fingers anymore. It's just kind of like fuzziness. And then you'll be able to
Yeah.
see the color and how big it is. And then they'll also teach you, and I'm sure people can just do this on their own too, but to put your hand out and kind of like reach and feel where there's a little bit of resistance on someone else's aura or like on your own and kind of and play with
Push and
your
play.
push and play with the aura, which I did with my friend Meg in high school. We did a full on like aura
Should
meditation
we do a push and play right now?
and well, I like could not feel hers. I was not talented enough, but she felt mine.
We should do a live on Patreon
Where
where
we
we try to
try
push and play.
everyone grab a partner.
I
It's
don't
the
know
push
why I
and
really
play
love to
evening.
say push and
Push
play.
and play.
It also sounds, like, weirdly sexual.
Oh,
The more I
interesting.
say it, the dirtier it gets.
It's in your mind.
Yeah.
Also, if you use Chat GPT, it will not write you Bigfoot smut like I asked it to do for
Or
me
any
last night.
sexy stories.
No,
Corinne is very upset about it.
I know. I was like, "Come on." Like, I wanna just envision a date with Bigfoot. Why
You
is
just
that
want a
so
Bigfoot
problematic?
porno.
Ugh. No, I wasn't even asking. I was
But
just
you could
like
probably ask for
I
a
was like, "I
date.
want romance," and it was like, "No,
No,
not with
you
Bigfoot."
wanted sexy steamy.
I did say, "Give me a sexy story about Bigfoot,"
Because then you
and
did
it
have a
said,
Bigfoot love
"No."
story.
I did. Mhm. We
Yeah,
did have one.
yeah.
It was well, I asked for a enemies to lovers arc,
And
and
it
it
delivered.
delivered. It delivered. Okay, also on the property is an area called the Healing Labyrinth, and in the
Oh.
dead center is the focal point of the largest vortex on the property. So I'm assuming probably vortex number 1? I don't know, unless they discovered an even larger one as one of the
Oh.
3. But I think it's important to note here that despite this all being kind of, like, silly and amazing to walk around these, like, crooked buildings and feel your energies and kind of be disoriented, it's a really great place to also go to heal. Like, we can
Mm.
go in and be like, "This is silly," or "This is a little scary," or "I'm confused." But if we fall back on what the Blackfeet experienced, like, it is a place of healing and
Yeah.
magic, and this energy is beneficial in so many ways, and so I'm glad that they have a dedicated space on the property, the
Mhm.
healing labyrinth, for people
Mm.
to walk around and to feel themselves and put out their intentions and feel better and heal.
Yeah. Center themselves.
Yes. Yeah. And also, what a great place to manifest too. That's what I was thinking. I was like,
Ah,
I want to walk around the labyrinth and manifest and see kind of what powers unlock within
I might need to
me.
fly back to Montana before flying back to
Before
LA.
LA, no, you're not allowed to go without me.
Oh, yeah, okay, fine. But I need my energy.
So do I. We'll do it together. You got mad at me 2 episodes ago for doing a ancestral class online without
That's
you, so you
true,
cannot physically fly to.
but you're still doing the class without me.
You're also doing your postural therapy,
You
which
can't
is
do that
even
with me.
well, you can't do the class with me. We're in a fight.
But
Day
I'm turning
17 of
away from
being
you.
together. No! Okay, so this place sounds really cool, super amazing, right?
Yeah,
Weird, fun, wacky little stop on your road
just
trip.
like us.
Um, some people think, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm bent neck lady. I slept funky.
Gotta go get your ice pack
I know
and
it,
put it on
and
your
my
neck.
turning away from you aggravated it.
See what happens when you're mean to me.
You were mean to me first. I feel like you're my sister.
I was just about to say we're turning into sisters. The sisters in the woods.
This is us.
This is we are hocus pocus now. We're like becoming
Sisters.
and then we go into the woods and hold the chickens.
Oh. Okay.
Okay. That was like way too loud. I hurt my own ears.
Well, thank you for an editor. I don't know. I didn't speak that Englishly.
Thank you for an editor named Christina who edits this. Okay, so some people think that this is a hoax, and there's been a big argument about this just being like basically a fun house. Like this is
Mhm.
we're tricking people, we're whatever. Who knows what it actually is and whether people are experiencing a gravitational anomaly that can be explained
Mhm.
or not explained. I don't care.
It's
What I
not a
do
trick.
care is that there's some things happening around here. And so I'm going to tell you a couple scientific theories first
Okay.
and then some paranormal
Thank
theories.
you.
So there are several scientific theories that attempt to explain the strange phenomenon.
Okay.
The most common theory is that there's an area that is affected by this gravitational anomaly. And according to this theory, there's a concentration of mass in the ground beneath the Montana vortex that has somehow created this distortion in the gravitational field. I don't know what
Okay.
that mass is.
Right. And wouldn't they be able to figure out where and
Yeah, you
what
would
it
think.
is?
But basically, it was like kind of like Gravity Hill sort of vibes,
Yeah.
where the cars are going. I forget what it is. It's like your car, even if
Kind of
you're
moves up.
completely, yeah, you like drive uphill, even though
There's a
you're not
hill.
moving or something like,
Yeah.
you put your car into neutral. So they think something like that is
Mhm.
happening where people appear to grow and shrink. And it's the same sort of thing as like rolling up the hill versus down the hill. Another theory is that the Montana vortex is affected by a magnetic anomaly. And it's believed that there's a really strong magnetic field in the ground beneath the property that can affect the behavior of the objects and the people in the area. And this could explain why compasses don't work in certain areas of the property.
Okay.
And so I don't know enough about magnets, but I do wonder if there's something where like it affects your vision, like if it affects the
Oh.
way atoms and molecules group together.
Hmm.
And so or like at least the space between us, like how we see, like the
Yeah.
open air is distorted, so the person isn't. But
Well, even if the magnetic field is distorted in some way, what causes that? Right?
aliens.
Yep.
But the fact of the matter, vortexes aside,
Mhm.
is that this portal is a hotspot for something. This vortex is more than a gravitational anomaly.
What is it for?
Things are lurking
What
in the
things?
woods. Bigfoot
And aliens?
and aliens.
Yes! Woo!
It's a combo
Okay,
from the two
fine.
of
I
us.
can't go without you.
Thank you.
I feel like I just showed my feet.
for free.
Christina, can you put, like, a ghost over my foot so no one sees it?
Or put a box
Did you
that
hear
blurs
that?
it. Yeah, your stomach is going wild. Put a box that blurs it out and
I don't wanna be on
says,
Wiki Feet.
"Pay $15 to have this
To get
box
the
removed."
yeah, censored material.
Censored. Danger. Area 51. Okay, Bigfoot has been seen here, and there's photo evidence of it, but I couldn't see any photos. I Googled, couldn't find anything, so they're hidden somewhere. Maybe someone just has them on their personal computers.
Can I just say something really quick?
Mhm.
Area 51 is a foot. 5 toes, 1 foot.
And all that area that you wanna get up in. You you
All
can
up
make
in them
you
toes,
can
those
make
toe
anything
crevasses.
anything work.
I
Like our
do
2
love
birds, 1 stone, it was, like, such a stretch.
no, that was not a stretch. I do love my one of my favorite phrases now is, like, "I'm gonna take the 210, 2 feet, 10 toes, I'm gonna walk."
Oh, I've never heard
Isn't that
that.
fun?
I like that.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna start saying that too. I'm gonna take the 210.
I'll see you there.
Also, I feel like that's such a California thing
Yeah, because
because
the 405,
saying
there's a lot
in
of
front of the
those.
interstate.
The 10.
Took me a while to shake that when I moved back to
I know, it's
Boston.
weird.
Okay, so Bigfoot has been seen. There's photo evidence. I haven't seen the photos. So if you have access to the photos, please privately DM me.
I wonder if there were any at the Cryptozoology Museum.
Probably. There was so much
Yeah,
Bigfoot material. I was trying to take pictures all over the place, and there's
so
so much
much.
there's so much it's so easy to miss things. Like you have
Yeah,
to go 20 times.
yeah.
So people have reported seeing a Bigfoot 4 times that have been recorded
Okay.
in recent history. And a paranormal researcher on staff this year, when the website said this year, so I'm hoping it's this year
As
and
in
not from like last
2023.
year because I think
Yeah.
it's a seasonal opening type thing.
Okay.
But the paranormal researcher on staff this year has been staffed to basically help collect the reports of all of these strange sightings, Bigfoot sightings included. People have seen Bigfoot through the tree line, the shape of Bigfoot, and large shadows that are cast behind it. Visitors have come across large footprints of an unidentified bipedal creature, which happens to look a lot like the footprints of Bigfoot casts that we see. And they actually did go and take some of the casts, I believe, of some of the
Oh.
footprints that were found. Like if the people were able to bring the owners, I guess,
Yeah.
back to the place, they would try to take molds of
What
it.
a cool job.
Yeah, and I believe some of the casts are now on display in the gift shop.
Oh,
And it's definitely not one Bigfoot, it's multiple Bigfoots because a lot of what has been seen are varying shapes and sizes, just like not all feet are the same.
right.
Not all Bigfoot feet are the same. So it's, like, very clear that it's the same sort of species,
Mhm.
but some might be younger, some might be like, they have
There's
different
children.
spreads of toes and yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Different weights and sizes and how much weight is put down on their arch and heel, all that. So,
If there was an OnlyFans for Bigfoot feet, would you subscribe?
who wouldn't if there was proof of Bigfoot's foot just, like,
Okay,
consistently?
but if no, let's just say we lived in a world where Bigfoot was walking amongst us, amongst us, and he was not he, she, they were not a mystery, and they started an OnlyFans for their feet. Would you join?
No, and here's my reason. We would be personal friends, so I would have easy access to those toes.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't need to pay.
Good to know.
I'll just look down at their sandals when we go to brunch every
When you go to
Saturday
bed every night.
yeah. Yeah. When I put their warm socks on out of the dryer and sleep well, my love.
Nice little head tickle every night.
Ah, give you the scratchies. Rub some, like, cypress scented essential
Yeah.
oil, not lavender, it's like fir tree.
For
Ah, smell pine.
like horse shampoo.
I used to use that.
I know, I feel like that was a thing a lot of people did.
Yeah, mane to tail.
Yeah,
Mane and
something like
tail,
that.
something like that.
Yeah.
Apparently, it was supposed to help us. I don't think it did anything. But, uh, yes, there are Bigfoots in the woods, and people have heard and captured sounds of the Bigfoots in the woods too. So
Oh,
apparently, it's like these wailing, howling screams that don't belong to any creature that we know of,
yeah.
but we know of Bigfoot, so I guess it belongs to
Mhm.
Bigfoot.
Now I'm just looking out in the woods, hoping that while you're
I
talking,
know.
I will see a Bigfoot.
I've been hoping that this whole time. I've been scanning the tree line. Every time there's like a sway of a
You know.
tree or a branch, I'm like, what moved that?
All right. I'll be on watch.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Joe Hauser, the owner who bought the property most recently and bought it with the intention to study the electromagnetic anomaly on the property, is a big believer in Bigfoot and has now encountered Bigfoot plenty of times on the property.
So cool.
He and others say that Bigfoot seemingly appears out of nowhere
Because it's a vortex.
because it's a vortex. It's a
Portal.
portal. And Bigfoot is an interdimensional being, right? Like
Yeah.
that's a theory that now I'm like believing more and more and more the more stories I hear about Bigfoot.
Yeah.
It's just like, especially too, like the fact that this thing just pops out of nowhere. There's not that much space. I mean, I know there's a national park, but like think about how many cameras are around and people and tourists and
Mhm.
whatnot. And for these things to just like blip in and out of existence
Yeah.
and have such a concentrated area right next to the vortexes where they're seen, seems like 1 + 1 = 2.
Yeah.
Joe says that at night, the Bigfoot will sometimes knock on his house. I don't know if they're knocking on the front door or just like all around his house. I was picturing
Ah,
kind of like all around, like
I love it's like my neighbor.
it's the neighbor. They're like,
Oh,
Joe, something's happening in the woods. We need
we
your
need you. Or Joe, do you have a cup of tea for me?
help. Joe, I need my no, never mind.
What?
I was gonna say my toenails clipped, and I was like, why do I have to say that? Come
I
on,
love
brain.
when you I admire you so much because you say what comes to mind so quickly.
But then sometimes I try to stop myself because I'm like, we don't need to go
No,
down
but
this
I
path.
love it.
Thank you.
I appreciate you. This is a
Due to some
safe
of the negative
space.
reviews we get, others do not.
Whereas I just like I'm a parrot. I hear what you say and it's really funny and I say it again.
I know that's half of the episodes that I do. I've started to ask for some of them to be cut out because you'll say something. Even if you're like the donut, I'm like the donut, the donut, the donut. I just repeat, repeat, repeat. Okay, so Joe says Bigfoot come.
Hmm.
They knock on his house at night. And they also seem to be either he's like not really sure if they're pranking him or if they're unhappy sometimes with the way that he does things or if they're just generally like
Hello.
making themselves known because he
Mhm.
says whenever he rakes the walkways and tries to clear the path for people who are walking down these nature trails and on his property, he often finds signs of Bigfoot activity along the path. So I don't know what that means if they're just like putting all the leaves and debris back in the
Oh.
path or if they're leaving little love notes in the sand, Joe hearts Bigfoot. I have no
Or
idea.
they like that there's a trail for them to walk. Maybe it's
Yeah.
better on their
Oh,
toes.
true, true.
They are barefoot.
Yeah, they had already sawed off their calluses, and so now their feet are sensitive.
What if they want shoes? Should we leave shoes for
Oh, that's
Bigfoot in
interesting.
the Montana
And
vortex?
then in 1 million years, Bigfoot actually develops into just human beings, and Bigfoot was an ancestor. Although Bigfoot, I feel like if anything, would be a future us because it's clearly able to navigate portals in other
Yeah, that's
dimensions.
true.
Maybe we get super hairy. Maybe half of us break off and become aliens, and the other half of us break off and become
You
Bigfoot.
would for sure become Bigfoot and I
If
would
we get
become
to choose our
aliens.
own adventure.
And then we could be enemies made turned lovers.
Lovers, the enemies to lovers arc. It's about
Yes.
us.
You have to
Foreshadowing.
in order to hear what we're talking about. It's on our Patreon. It was a live stream for April. You can
Yes.
go check
You
that
can
out.
go watch back.
Yeah.
Joe has taken to making them snacks, leaving them some sweet little treats
So Joe and I are on
outside.
the same page.
Mhm. They seem to really enjoy peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Who doesn't?
He also has started to put double-sided tape around the bowl, and so they're leaving behind, sometimes, like, from picking up the bowl, some hair, which sometimes has some follicles, skin follicles on them,
Saliva?
probably saliva.
Mm.
Anyway, this is Joe collecting DNA, and he's taken these DNA samples, and he's actually sent them off to a project that's working on analyzing DNA samples from what is unknown.
Can we talk to Joe?
I freaking want to.
Okay. Let's do it.
I think he's like actively working at this place too. Like not just a silent owner that just is I think he's like there. He's researching, he's experiencing the vortex all the time.
You know what I love to think is that Joe thinks Bigfoot's knocking on his door, but it's actually our astral bodies from a different time knocking on his door because we want answers.
Help us. Help
Give
us
us the
find
answer.
Bigfoot.
What?
I talk so much about the love of Bigfoot, and I feel like I talk about it in a way that's, like, kind of a joke, and it's like, "Oh, Corinne loves Bigfoot."
But it's also not a joke.
It is so serious. Like, if I really
You're
wanna
getting
join
flustered.
I know. I really wanna join a Bigfoot hunting group, like, for real.
Let's do it.
Some people wanna try pottery in their downtime, some people
You do wanna do
wanna.
that too, though.
Yes, but more than that, I wanna well, I'm gonna make pottery to create bowls to put peanut butter and jelly sandwiches
Oh,
in to bring on my
maybe
Bigfoot
that's why
hunting
you
trips.
like peanut covered M&Ms so much.
Mm,
You and Bigfoot just munching
mm.
on some peanut M&Ms.
Okay, but also I don't know if they would like peanut M&Ms, which is so
Oh.
weird because so they love peanut butter and jelly sandwiches,
Mhm.
but they don't like Skittles or M&Ms.
Oh.
So I don't think they're a big fan of chocolate or sour.
Hmm. Okay.
And the reason being is Joe has left those in the bowl. He leaves various
Snackies.
human food, little
Yeah.
snackies in the bowl, and sometimes they like them, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and sometimes they spit them back out of their mouth and leave a slobbery version of it back on the bottom of the bowl. Orbs, strange lights, ghostly apparitions, weird noises, and other paranormal phenomena has been documented and seen on this property. And I couldn't find this anywhere except for one place on the internet, so I have no idea if this is an actual story or if it
Okay.
was fictional, inspired by this place,
Okay.
or what. But apparently, there was a woman who had a glitch in the matrix, a wrinkle in time, and
Okay.
saw a scene from the 1900s unfold in front of her. And that's the only piece of information that I was able to find. I don't know anything else.
From the 1900s?
It feels very Outlander, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
That's so cool.
Joe encourages people to bring cameras, EMF recorders, crystals, dowsing rods, anything ghost hunting related
Which
or
we
anything could
are
explain.
also getting into. We won't.
We're super down. We have our EMF recorder that we brought to our live shows, and there's other stuff that we want to buy, but ghost
Yeah.
hunting is an
It's
expensive
an
hobby.
expensive hobby.
It is. So we have some desires. If anyone wants to donate anything to us, we would accept it.
We would.
So Joe is clearly like he's not trying to keep this for himself. He's like, let's freaking find out what is going on here. So he wants everyone to do everything. And I was thinking about it and I was like, given just how much is happening and how many UFOs they see in the sky and stuff in
Mhm.
this area, I was like, they should totally do a CE5 event, which
I'll go.
a CE5 event, for anyone that doesn't know, it's a close encounter of the fifth kind. And that is where you make basically like telepathic communication with aliens. And so people enter a meditative sort of state and try to summon the aliens and have communication. And oftentimes, when there's a CE5 event, in turn, there's other close encounters of varying degrees, second, third, whatever,
Mhm.
because they'll see different spacecrafts. You'll see UFOs, lights in the sky,
Yeah.
and sometimes physical beings appear
Mhm.
around them. So I was like, "Oh, they should totally do a CE5 event." And I don't think they do a CE5 event, but they do another event, which is called a UFO spotting night. So
Oh,
Joe and his wife Tammy, they host these nights, I don't know how often, at least once a year.
we gotta go.
Yes, and basically the intention is to look up at the sky and see what UFOs come. And they have these high-powered binoculars that they use to look up at the sky. I think the way that the articles were written, it sounds like Tammy's more of the binocular
Mhm.
gal, and I would be too if I had access to that. So it's the perfect place to do this because UFOs have been spotted numerous times above the property, making it quite literally an alien hotspot.
Oh my gosh.
And there's a photo taken by Joe, and I'm going to show you. The
Okay.
photo was taken on April 2013 at 12:45 p.m. The sun is far off in the distance. So the
Uh-huh.
light that you'll see in this photo is not the sun.
Okay.
So the sun was way to the right of the Columbia Mountain. And as soon as he took this picture of what he saw as a giant ball of light that was like taking up the whole sky, it collapsed into a small orb and flew off east and quickly disappeared. Which reminds me so much of all the times that people are like, there's two suns or there's
Yeah.
two moons and they see
Oh,
multiple and one, it's not like a double reflection sort of thing where
right.
there's one moon and then there's one moon. It's like there's one moon
It's
and
like
then there's
totally different
one
space.
moon. Yeah. And so this was like a double sun sort of thing. And so here's the photo.
I was gonna say I was
Look up
trying
it.
not to look, but
And the thing
Oh,
is so
wait, so
many
where's
other
the
people
sun?
probably where my cursor is, like, way off in the distance.
That
The
is
sun isn't in the photo because it wasn't even nearby where this light was.
that is spooky.
And even if this was the sun,
It's
that's not the sun.
massive.
It's way too big.
Yeah.
It's 12 times the size of the sun. It takes up the whole entire mountain.
Jeez.
But a lot of other people see similar things, similar balls of light in this
That's a
area.
big old ball of light.
Mhm. So, that is the Montana Vortex that we all should add to our haunted road trip list.
I wanna know if there are cabins and farmettes like this nearby, and that's our
Mhm.
next stay.
Oh my god, yes.
Should we book it
I'm
before we
down.
leave here?
Yeah, I'm down. We're coming to Montana!
If we do a tour, we need to make sure we stop in Montana
Or somewhere around
or
there.
somewhere where we have to drive through
We need
Montana.
yeah, because you and I both have said I know a lot of people, when they go on tour, they fly, and driving is obviously longer,
Yeah, but
but it would be so fun because if we can make it work, we could see all these cool
we should
spots
get,
along
like,
the
a
way.
cool little camper,
Mhm.
and that way we don't have to pay for hotels.
That's true, we can
We'll
travel on the Jeep.
Yes, just sleep
Yes,
in there.
just wear perfume as our showers.
They have showers in those.
They do?
And if you do, like, an RV,
Oh, yeah, I guess so.
yeah.
Alright, well, we've got some plans to make.
We'll have an extra bed for Bigfoot.
Sorry, I'm, like, really losing my voice.
Oh, I thought you were clearing your throat because you were gonna say, "Actually, we'll have an extra bed for you, Sabrina." Bigfoot's staying in my bed.
No, I have a clump of phlegm
Or is it
forming.
a hairball?
I am Bigfoot.
Bigfoot is me. Wow,
Bigfoot is me.
Bigfoot is we.
Bigfoot. Ooh.
We do want a furry wiener.
A dachshund. A dachshund. What do you have to
Oh, I
tell
have a
us?
story. I just was enjoying the
Are you trying to stare at me long enough to see my aura?
oh, I'll practice it in the car later.
Okay,
When you're
just stare at
driving,
me
I'm
for
just
1
gonna
hour straight.
your aura changes colors because you're so uncomfortable.
Yeah. What if you
Okay.
watched it change to black? How scary would that be?
I wouldn't tell you.
That seems like it would be you're gonna die. But also, haven't we read stories where people are like, actually, the lack of an aura entirely is an indication? Like when people can truly see auras and someone just doesn't have one, it's like, oh,
Because
something's
their
about to
astral
happen.
body is already leaving. Their
Yeah.
soul is leaving their body. Okay, I have a story from our listener, Julie.
Great.
And this was done in 2018.
Ooh, I love reading.
Mhm.
I mean, we always read stuff from all over, but I love because it's so close to when we started the podcast that
Yeah.
this is like OG listener.
And then it's also concerning because it's like, do they still listen?
Maybe not.
We'll find out.
We'll email them and say
Yeah.
we read it, and then we'll suck them back into our
Or they, like, never responded, so
triangle.
we'll never know.
Yeah.
Okay. It's called I Was 6 When Something Attempted to Possess Me. Hey, ladies, kitty cat and fruit fly. Can I just start by saying how much I freaking love you girls, and I did not know how much I needed this podcast in my life. Also, I binged the shit out of it, all 78 episodes in less than 3 weeks. It would have been a shorter time, but my job kept interrupting me. How rude. Also,
so rude.
Encounters 19 regarding your dog eating your neighbor's corn on the cob. I laughed so hard and so loud that I needed to share it with my office, and they loved it too. Do you remember that story?
No.
My dog, when we were moving into our house, disappeared, and we were like so confused. And then he ran back, and we're like, we don't know where he went. And we were eating dinner, and all of a sudden he starts like gagging, and he threw up an entire like corn on the cob. And we were like, where the hell did you get this from? Like, we didn't have corn. We're like, what happened? And then a couple months later, there was like a neighborhood barbecue, and our neighbor was telling this story about how he was grilling one day and he had like a whole plate of corn up on the counter, and he came back and a bunch of corn was missing. And he had no idea where it went. And my family goes, we know what happened to the corn.
Oh my god. And you know your dog was so like knew what it was doing was wrong.
Yeah.
Especially how hastily the dog ate it. Like to eat the whole thing. Like it knew it didn't have time.
And
If it was gonna get it had to have it then.
This was a Bernese Mountain Dog, so it's not like a small little dog who slipped in and out. It was a massive
dog
who ran into the house, and I mean, props to him.
Wow.
Bear. Oh, I miss it. Okay.
Bear.
Here is my story. For the first 12-ish years of my life, I grew up in another country. And when I had just turned 6 years old, me, my mom, and sister visited my aunt who had just had her first child. She lived in a small one-bedroom apartment, so we were all in one room while the shabacle went down. I like that word.
I know, I was just thinking that. Shabacle.
I've never seen it spelled shabacle.
Shabacle.
Okay. My sister and I were playing in the corner of her room while my aunt and my mom talked and gushed over the new baby. And then, all of a sudden, I felt this magnetizing force pull me towards the upper corner of the room. At first, it felt like it was trying to enter me, but then immediately I knew it wanted to harm me and my sister. It did not have a face or features. I mostly felt it and saw a vortex like energy. I started to cry and scream, "Mom, don't let it hurt me!" while running to my mom's arm.
Oh.
While in her arms, I screamed, "Don't hurt me, don't hurt me, don't hurt me!" and cowardly saying, "Mom, don't let it hurt me," and crying hysterical.
Oh, I can imagine the fear.
And it's not cowardly, she's 6 years old.
Yeah. And even, like, uh, anyone would react that way, don't
Yes.
you think?
Yeah.
That's just human nature.
I'm almost 30 years old, and when things happen, my mom's not even around, and I'm like, "Mom, help
I
me."
mean, we made a bunch of people on our Patreon live
Follow us
babysit
around.
us and follow us around our
It's
Airbnb.
true. My aunt, being a pediatric nurse, thought I was running a high fever and hallucinating, so she ran to run me a bath and grabbed a thermometer, the older kind with mercury in it. Well, she placed it under my arm, and it exploded.
What?
I didn't get hurt, and I still felt this force sucking me towards it, and after a while, I felt like it was stronger than me, and I could no longer cry or speak. It was clear it was not going to give up.
Oh,
My mom was freaked out because she said I was burning up and my face was turning pale. So they decided to take me to the hospital, and the second I was out of the apartment, I felt so much calmer and was just fine. Like a massive weight was lifted off of me. I never told them what I was feeling that night and never told anyone about this because I thought I was really sick. But I never forgot what it felt like and what this energy vortex made the room look like. To give you a better idea, it made the room look like the light tunnel filter on a Mac photo booth. Do you
hmm.
remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Needless to say, when I got my first Mac computer, all my suppressed memory came back. I had only returned a few more times to my aunt's apartment. My grandma passed away on September 14th on her youngest son's wedding day and 9 days before my birthday. We all took it very hard, me the hardest, and I still can't talk about her to this day, and I'm about to be 30.
Mm.
Tears. Anyway, she passed after I turned 8, and I would not speak to anyone until I went back to my aunt's apartment. She had told me many times that I would have a full conversation with my grandmother while at her apartment.
Oh.
Unfortunately, I do not remember them. I wish I did. Me, my mom, and sibling moved to the US in 2000, and I have never returned to her apartment, even when I go to visit. Because not today, Satan. Thanks for reading my story. I hope it didn't scare you as much as it still scares the bejesus out of me. I love you girls. I finally feel like I have found a place where I can relate and share my experience without being made to feel like I've lost a few marbles. I found you ladies on Instagram, but is there a way to become a part of the book club without having Facebook? Thank you, Julie. Yes, Julie, there is. I will send you the Goodreads link. And hopefully you still listen.
Yes. Oh my gosh, the I can't get over the thermometer just fully
Exploding.
exploding. Because a thermometer, it's not even like it just like, oh, it goes up to 105 degrees. Like that thing has to be so I don't even know what it has to go through for the actual
Mercury to
bust out of the glass.
and I do think that was a thing if I don't know, I don't remember, but like Mercury's really bad. But
Oh yeah, mercury
yeah.
poisoning?
Yeah. But
1000%.
I feel like something like extreme has to happen to create the explosion.
Right. Exactly. And two, it's not like she was moving in an aggressive way at all. Like she was a
Mm-mm.
small child, and this was
It
just like her
exploded,
mom was probably very gently
putting it under her armpit.
putting it under her armpit. Exactly. Oh, that freaks
It
me
just
out. It's like what the hell was trying to get in her? What was trying to be absorbed
right.
into
This
her?
energy and this energy was like clearly surrounding her.
Yeah. Woo! Good thing
Woo!
grandma was around.
Her aunt.
Oh, her aunt. Her aunt spirit.
And then her grandma, I think her grandma's spirit must have been at her aunt's place.
Yeah, I'm confused. The aunt. The aunt was dead?
No, the grandma's spirit.
Oh, that's what I meant. Like, good thing grandma's spirit was around.
But I think it was after.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, good thing you didn't get possessed. I don't know who to thank
I know.
for that.
I'm curious. We'll follow up with Julie, and hopefully she still listens. But I'm curious if the conversations with grandma were at the aunt's or what.
Yeah.
I would like some clarification there.
Ooh. I also want to know if that's happened to anyone else. Like the explosion.
Vortex thing?
The what?
The vortex thing or the explosion?
The explosion part. That's the part that's like really getting me. And
we should do some research because I wonder if that's a thing.
Yeah.
Either
Signs
way.
of poltergeist activity.
This is spooky, and I'm glad Julie's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But let's go to Montana.
I'm down. Montana's Vortex, we're coming for you.
Also, if you have paranormal investigative stuff that you no longer need or are just dying to give to us, we do have a P.O. box.
Yes, we do.
Or if you want to send us, I don't know, some candles or cards. If you want to send us your wedding invitations, we like to look at them.
We do like to look at them. Yes.
Don't send us any teeth.
No, we've heard horror stories from other people, but I think what's special about this group is we clearly, you guys know we're scared, and so you really respect us and when you send us things.
Yeah.
It's all like protective and kind and nice.
Candles.
And we don't get anything scary in the mail, which is good. Nice. We like that.
But our P.O. box, it's on our Instagram and our website. So if you want to look for it.
Yes.
I think I know the address. Is it 25 New Chardon Street, P.O. Box number 5619, Boston, Massachusetts 02114?
Yes. Wow. Great job.
Thank you.
Yes, it is.
I mean, people are going to be like, well, duh, you should know your P.O. box. Know.
But she doesn't ever go to it.
Yeah,
like it's not, you live in LA.
I do.
You don't need to pay attention to it because I just go, I grab things, I divvy it up, and I ship you a box every so often. Yeah. So,
if you have ghost stories too, if you've been to the Montana's Vortex, if you've seen a vortex, or if anything's happened to you in life, if you've lived life.
Do you have a life?
Let us know. Email us.
Call us at 1-800-LIFE. Life. Live life.
Live life.
Live, laugh, love.
Email us at twogirlsoneghostpodcast@gmail.com. Rate and review us on iTunes.
Yeah. Do that for every podcast that you listen to. It really does help. We have social media. You can follow us on social media. We got some really awesome things happening to our Patreon.
Join Campfire Stories.
Revamped it so many times and just keep adding more things to it. So we're hoping to make it worth your while. And we do Campfire Stories every single Tuesday live, and they're also available for replay. So you can watch back and binge all the previous Campfire Stories on there as well.
Yep. We have Patreon live streams for only Phantoms and above every month. We do
and when we do live shows, we will also be posting audio and video for certain tiers on there as well.
Yep.
Unfortunately, Portland again just didn't record, so we were very haunted there. But hopefully,
fingers crossed for New Jersey.
will.
We love you all. Thank you so much to Christina for editing our show, and thank you for all of you joining us. And thank you to Sandra and her wife for having us at the Farmette. Well, we should put the link in here.
Yes. The Farmette Sanctuary. We will.
Yeah, we will.
And we will. See you on the other side.
I didn't know where to look.
Woo.
Very spooky.